Hello, hello, hello. Hi, everybody. Hi, Terry. Good to see you. How are you? Good to see you. Hi, Linda. Hello to Tim. Grab a cup of something. Hi, Denise. Yeah, it's good to be here. Good to see you guys. Had a bit of a break. Terry's doing okay? Good. Had a bit of a break this weekend. Hello, Dorothy. You've been wondering where I was? I'm right here. Hi, Peggy. I wasn't here Friday, which I told everybody I wasn't going to be here, but you might have missed it. And I will not be here again this coming Friday, but I'll be back, as far as I know, for the next Monday broadcast. Yeah, so it is hot here. It is hot in this place. Let's see what the temperature is. It is a hot, hot day out today. Right now it's 96 degrees. The real feel is 102. I don't know what that equates to in Celsius, but it's hot. It's hot. Anyway, it's one of those hot things that where it's just like takes your breath away. Yeah. Anyway, so I'm not sure what we're gonna do tonight. I'm just not sure yet. That's 83 there. Wow, that is lovely. That sounds lovely. It's supposed to cool off here a little bit. Yeah, it's supposed to cool off here this week, I think. I feel slovenly tonight. We didn't get back until really late last night. I mean, well, it was pretty late. So, yeah. It was a long drive yesterday. Yeah. Hey, Amber, not quite as humid as it has been. That's helpful. That's helpful. Hi, Catherine. You're at 71? Wow. Good to see you, Amber. So anyway, we were gone this weekend. We drove down to see my granddaughter in Alabama. And why is it that hand cream type things always splurt? All you want's a little dab, and they just make this big splurt. Oh well. It must be the law of hand cream and hand lotion, huh? I just needed some on one finger, but no, it splurts everywhere. Anyway, enough about me. 75 there. Well, I'm hoping, hey Rhonda, I'm hoping that it cools off here too, for sure. Anyway, we left Thursday, drove part of the way to Alabama, and then drove the rest of the way on Friday. But first, we stayed in Paducah overnight, Paducah, Kentucky, which is a very well-known quilting and art center. It was so hot on your vacation. You're going to just slow roast, huh? The grandkids are just adorable. They're just adorable. The great-grandbabies are just too cute. The little boy who had surgery on his eyes is doing quite well. His eyes are tracking together more. He had, for when he was born, once his eyes were supposed to start tracking, one of them was not in sync with the other ones, so they ended up having to do surgery, but they couldn't do that till he was a year old. And so they did that back in June, July, the middle of July. So it's been about a month since the surgery, and his eyes are doing much better. There's still some healing to do, and that's, I guess, not unusual that at some points they have to go back in and do a second surgery because they release the muscle somehow. I don't know. But he looks so different, because you get so used to the way they look. And my granddaughter said when they brought him out to her, and she got to see his eyes for the first time, she was like, "This isn't my baby." Of course it was, but just you don't realize how much you associate the way someone looks a certain way, and then if that changes, you're like, I have to get to know this baby all over again. It's a funny thing about us people, us humans. But he's doing, hey Marilyn, hi Jenny. He is just too cute, and he's doing all kinds of things. He's walking now. He was a year in June. He's walking now, and he's doing all kinds of stuff. It's pretty darn sweet. The little girl is going to be 4 in October, and she is just a corker. She is Miss Drama Queen. She is a princess extraordinaire, and she is a dramatic little thing. Everything is a crisis. Everything, If her little brother takes a toy, it's a crisis. If the food isn't the way she thought it should be, it's a crisis. Everything's a crisis. It's pretty funny. Yeah. Hey, Kelly and Miss Kel. You're trying to get out of bed? Get out of bed, Jenny. Go get some coffee. So when we went to Paducah, there is a section of Paducah. It's Paducah, Kentucky, which is in the middle of the United States. And we were there for the night, and then the next day I wanted to go to a store there. It's called Hancock's, which is a great, big, huge fabric store. And I do mean huge. I don't have any idea how many square feet it is, but the store is huge. Now, to tell you, when you go in there to buy stuff, to buy fabric, and it's primarily quilting fabric. There's some drapery fabric, but it's primarily quilting fabric. And a lot of it. A lot. And if you're going to buy fabric, the minimum cut is a yard. So you're not going in there to buy, a quarter yard of this, a half a yard of that. No, they're not having that. It's a yard, and that's it. I didn't even look at the fabric. I walked around the perimeter of this huge store. When there is that much fabric and that much, and it's just bolt after bolt after bolt. It's not artfully displayed like in quilt shops and things. It is just bolt, bolt, bolt all the way. And it's just feet and feet and feet of bolts of fabric. And you have to really know what you want when you go in there, or have an idea of what you want, which I wasn't planning to go there, so I didn't have an idea. And it just becomes overwhelming immediately. So I walked the perimeter of the store and looked at the notions. Hey, Skinny Cat Carrie. You haven't been in Hancock since they left North Texas. This is like the home base of Hancock's. And Tim did very well with that eye surgery when he was 2. His eyes have been tracking perfectly since then. Oh, that is encouraging and great news. That is great. I will pass that along to my granddaughter. She will find that encouraging. They're also doing some, my granddaughter's an occupational therapist, and so there is a specialist occupational therapist, as I understand it, in that pediatric ophthalmology department. And so she was helping my granddaughter with the specific exercises for the eyes and things, so, which is cool. So yeah, it was just incredibly overwhelming to go in there. It used to be a big mail order. Hancock's. I'm sorry, I'm skipping a bit here and there. Hancock's was a huge mail order business in Kentucky, and I'm not sure that they do that now. I'm not positive. Whether they still do the mail order or whether there's an online. They don't send out catalogs anymore that I'm aware of, but online they may still do an online business. I don't really know. But anyway, so I found some needles that I had been looking for, hand sewing needles, and I got an iron. The iron I have, hand iron. I know a lot of people go, iron, that's a 4-letter word. Well, when you sew, you have to have an iron, that's all. And the iron that I have right now is about 30 years old. And so I know it is about to give up the ghost. You know, it wasn't there, Amber. The card you sent wasn't there the last time I went in, but that's been probably 10 days ago. So Denise said the salesman came to you to buy, came to her, and that was overwhelming, just with suitcases of samples. I know, I remember those days too when I was at the sewing machine fabric store. That was overwhelming. It really was, because sometimes the store owner would say, "Come help me pick out fabric," and I'm like, "Nope, nope." Mine isn't quite. It isn't quite that old. It's an old Bernina iron. It hasn't come back. Okay. Hey, Sharon. But I know the kind of irons you're talking about. In fact, I have some of the super old antique irons that I use as weights. So I know what you're talking about. All right, so what I thought I would do is talk to you a little bit about Paducah. I don't have a lot of information about Paducah. It's spelled Paducah in Kentucky. The National Quilt Museum is there. I did not go in there. That's another thing. If I would have to have a lot of time to be able to go in and peruse the National Quilt Museum. And I knew that we were going to get on the road. Hi, Peg. Good to see you. I knew that we were going to get on the road because we had a pretty long day of driving ahead of us. And so I'm like, nope, I'm not going to go in there. Not going in the Quilt Museum. Hancock's was overwhelming enough, although I did get some things, and then I was trying to figure out where the art district was, so I looked it up, and so Paducah's not that big. It's like a city of like 20,000 people, I think, or thereabouts, and then once a year during Quilt Week in April, there are 30,000 people that descend on that community. If you can imagine that. More than double the size of your community. So, yeah, it's quite an interesting place, and a lot of it was very run down. And so they decided, this is years ago, they decided that they were going to try to resurrect a section of the town and see if they could attract artists to come into the community. And so I don't know exactly what all they did. I don't really care the details. You've always wanted to go there. It's very interesting. It's right on the river. There are 2 or 3 rivers that converge right in that area. And there's a river walk, and there's a wall along the river, and there are murals all down the wall, and it's quite an interesting place. I could go there and easily spend several days and still, I'm sure, not see everything. Anyway, so I thought I would share with you a couple of things to encourage you that maybe if you ever were in the area, you might be interested in going there. And this was a book that I bought in one of the shops. I thought I would show to you. So this is Lower Town, Paducah. So this is and Jay Downs is the guy that we talked to in one of the stores. And so he was approached by this company, which is Arcadia, I think it is. Yeah, Arcadia Publishing, to write this book. And there are these books all over for, different communities. And I know I've seen some of these in the bookstore, like in Barnes and Noble and stuff. And so this was a book that he and his wife wrote about Lower Town, which is the area where the artists are located. And, that's the part of the town that is close to the river that they have developed into this art community. And so what's interesting about this is when you're going through this, there are lots and lots of pictures of what the town used to look like. And he and his wife went to people who were there, who lived in Paducah, who had, and I hope I'm getting the information correct as I'm relating it to you. And so he would go in and talk to the people who were there and looked at their photographs. And so they took pictures of the photographs that the people in the community owned. And so none of these are photographs that have been published before, and none of the photographs left the possession of the people who owned the photographs. So it's quite interesting. And so he's gone through, this is 1913, and there was a flood, and this church right here, we saw this church, and this is what it looks like today, which is a beautiful little church on the corner. And this is what it looked like when it was flooded. But so that is just incredible to me to think about that. But that, when you live on the river, that's what happens, So an interesting history of Paducah. And I have only read the first few pages, just the first few pages. And so I don't know, those of you that are interested in those kinds of things might be interested in this book. But this picture here is the same house here, and I'm not sure if these are relatives of these people. I'm not sure. But he was telling us that all of these people have on heavy coats, and they look very robust, shall we say. And the reason was that they were told during that flood, if I understood him correctly, to leave they could not take their animals with them. And so under the coats of all these people, primarily women, they have animals that they are preparing to smuggle out of there. So I thought that was interesting. Wonder how often it floods like that. I don't think it floods real often. But in the community where I live, there is the Missouri River and also the Mississippi River, which goes through St. Louis, which is on the eastern side of the state of Missouri where I live. those two rivers flooded back in 1993, I think it was, and then they flooded again 2 or 3 years later, and that was a horrible flood here. And I don't know how much that, the Missouri and the Mississippi, I don't think affect Paducah, but when you've got that amount of water flowing in, I mean, it's unbelievable, the power of the water and what it can do. So your quilt guild has gone twice to Paducah. I've never gone there. I have a very good friend who has written a number of quilting books, and she's been lots of times, and so she's even had some of her quilts on display there and so forth. So yeah, I never have gone to Quilt Week. Honestly, I have to say, mixing it up with 30,000 other of my best friends might not be my first choice. Might not be. Anyway, so there's the book. If you're interested, it costs $21.99, and Paducah, Kentucky. It's called Lower Town Paducah. So if you're interested, if you like history of communities, art communities, and how they come into being, you might be interested in that. So anyway, so we walked around, and we found, as we're driving around, and we went by this little small shop, and it's called, let's see, the name of the store is Muppins, Muppins, Muppins Sewing Emporium. And so I'm going to show you. I have her card so you can see her. She also broadcasts on YouTube on Friday evenings. And her name is Cheryl Sloboda. And her last name is spelled Whited, Whitehead. I'm assuming. I'm not sure. I knew her as Cheryl Sloboda when I first became aware of her. This is her card. And so you can look at that. And she is, she's a really very nice gal. Super nice. She had a small, square footage wise, a small space, but there was a lot packed into that small space, and yet it was well organized, and you could see what was there. And of course she was very good about explaining things and so forth. So this is the name of it, Muppins Sewing Studio, and this is her logo right here. So she uses this funny skull with a sewing needle and so forth. That's the logo. Anyway, so we got there early, just not long after the store had opened, and so we got to talk to her for quite a little bit. So the interesting thing about her store is that it's pretty close to the river, and so she said that this location where she was a place where they did laundry, and so they did laundry and ironing. They would wash clothes and iron and all of that kind of thing. Okay, and so the river boats that would be coming down the river transporting goods and so forth would stop in Paducah to do whatever, offload or change loads or whatever they did. And so the men would get off the boat and they would come into town, and of course they've been on the boat for quite a while. Okay, so they come into town and they bring their laundry, and they would bring their laundry into this location where the laundry could be washed and so forth. And in this store, in the Muppins Sewing Emporium, she had lots of antique irons I mean, incredible antique irons, huge assortment that was on the top shelf around her store. And those were things that, a lot of those they apparently used or something like it at that point in time. So the men would drop off their laundry and they would then wash the laundry. And then another place pretty close, they could go and take a bath. And they could get their hair styled, a barbershop, and their beards, cut and styled and, cleaned up. And then very conveniently located not too far from there was the brothel, and so they would get all cleaned up and their laundry was being taken care of, and their laundry was not only washed, but because they had the irons, they would iron it dry, and so they would go get themselves taken care of in more ways than one, if you understand what I'm not saying. And then they would come back and then they would pick up their laundry and then they would go back and get on the riverboat and take off. Hey, Sheila. Yeah, I thought that was fascinating to hear all of that. So anyway, I thought I would show you. I mean, she was very knowledgeable about, kind of how that all worked. I thought it was pretty funny. Okay. Pause my chat here. Yeah, so it's funny how yeah, they got everything all ironed out. Yeah. Anyway, what a historical few facts. So anyway, while I was there, I just thought I would show you the things that I got while I was there. First of all, I thought these were the cutest thing that I ever saw. You guys, this is one of those where the fishing lures catch the fishermen more than they catch the fish. Okay, you'll understand why I say that. Okay. Not your granny's water brushes. Not your granny's water brushes. Okay? This right here is a regular water brush, this one. These little guys are this long. Okay? Look how tiny they are. They're so tiny. They're just, you know why I bought $7? Do you know why I bought those? Just because they were stinking cute, that's all. Yeah, they were just cute. Perfect for water or starch. Fill with water or your pressing spray to create a thin line of moisture to facilitate folding, or use to dampen paper pieces for easier tearing out of your papers. Uses are endless. Keep away from small children. Well, I can tell you my little great-granddaughter would think that was the coolest thing ever happened. Yeah, water brushes. Yeah, they would be so good for traveling, for sure. So cute. Yeah, that's just an example of the fishing lure catching the fisherman. Okay, I don't know if you guys are familiar with needle minders, but these are a really neat invention. I had not seen this one. I have 3 needle minders now. This is the 3rd one. And in case you don't know what they are, it's a magnet on the back of it. If I can get it out. She had quite a few different needle minders, but there's a magnet on the back of it. So if this was in a hoop, for example, let's say you were gonna do some embroidery, you can put this on your hoop and the magnet snaps in place, and then this will hold your needle. It'll hold it on the back or the front. If you just want to park your needle for a minute, That's a needle minder. And a lot of people collect them because they're just too cute. And I just lost the magnet here. There it is. So that is a needle minder. They're just awfully cute. You can get them on Amazon, and they're quite reasonably priced on Amazon. I bought this one, which was quite a bit more expensive than I paid for the other ones, but I just really, really liked it. And besides that, it's a little cat that almost looks like a Siamese cat in my imagination, and I thought it was just awfully cute. And she also had another one that was looked like a tomato pin cushion, but it was flat like this and enamel. They're awfully cute. Anyway, they are really nice for stitching things. And if you have a variety of stitching projects, it's nice to have one with each stitching project instead of moving them from project to project. Yeah. Yeah. So, nice. Very cute. This is, I'm not sure how I'm going to, and this also caught the fisherman. This is from Stampin' Up. But look, it's just too stinking cute for words, right? It's just a teeny-tiny little cutting mat. I don't know why I have an obsession. I don't want to say it's an obsession, but I have another one. Okay, so you can see I like these little things. This one came with my buttonhole cutter. That's what this one was for. But sometimes it's just nice to have this little cutting mat to move around. Anyway, I thought that was too cute, so $5. Okay, this Cheryl gave me permission to do with you all. It's a baby mat. Amazon has the butterfly one. They have all different kinds of them. They're just really neat. I love those. I really do love those little needle minders. The other thing that I have fallen in love with, crazy, and I never thought about the importance of these. I've always had big pin cushions around, and I have apparently a collection of pin cushions. I didn't know I did until I started looking and putting things together one time, and I'm like, where did I get all these pin cushions? One of our neighbors that lived across the street from us when I was a little girl and growing up into junior high and high school and stuff, I guess I moved across the street from her when I was 11 or 12. And she was quite the needlepoint person and all kinds of needle arts, but she did phenomenal needlepoint, and she taught me to do needlepoint, and I think I did one project and made a pincushion out of it. And then she gave me a couple of pincushions that she had done, and then, an obsession was born. Well, one of the problems with pincushions is that needles will get down in them. If they're not fairly shallow, they will get down inside the pincushion, and the needles will migrate in, and then you can't get them back out. Certainly not very easily. And so you either have to have small, thin pincushions or small pincushions. And I was watching, I think it was Jenny Clouston here on YouTube, and she has these little tiny pewter pincushions or little tiny things that she's made into pincushions. And so they don't all stand up, like it can be a figure with a pincushion in it that lays down, like an elephant or a figure of some kind. And she has those with all of her hoops for different stitching projects, and she just always parked the needle in that. Well, it's small enough, it's big enough to hold the needle, but small enough that the needle can't migrate into the pincushion and get lost. And I thought, that is such a great idea. And I don't know, a week or so ago, she did a whole video. If you have not looked at her videos, I highly recommend that you do. And about a week or so ago, she did one on all different kinds of pin cushions that she has either been given, bought, or made. Fascinating. And I never thought about making pin cushions from some of the things that she's made pin cushions from, and or that people have given her. I mean, some of them are so cute, like birds and little elephants. And anyway, the thing is, if you will get in the habit of putting your needle always in the little pin cushion or the needle minder, anytime you're going to set it down, even for a split second, it will keep it from getting on the floor. It keeps it from getting lost. So I then remembered that my mom had given me a pin cushion that was a little tiny wooden shoe, like from Holland, wooden shoe. That was a pin cushion. It's about this long. And I found it. I didn't know if I'd even saved it, but I had. And I found that, so that's now with my sewing stuff. It's like such a good idea. But wait till you see this. And Cheryl gave me permission to do this on stream with you guys. And so this is a vintage spoon pin cushion. I think this is going to be a lot of fun to do. So we're going to do this together, and this is a little kit. So it comes with the antique spoon, and we'll look at what's in here. And the spoons are all different. Some of them are small, some of them are big. And of course, don't you know that I just donated a whole bunch of odds and ends, oddball pin cushion, or antique spoons like this to Goodwill when I moved. Of course I did, right? Of course I did. Anyway, so there's instructions. Let's see what's in. So there's a little sheet of instructions and a little pattern and some alphabet letters, and it comes with a piece of fabric, and it comes with a little crocheted doily and the spoon. And so I thought we'll do that together. Catherine is addicted to making tiny pin cushions. I think that's cute. That's cool. The Missouri, Mississippi, and Ohio rivers all join together and can flood a lot of land. That is for sure. Yeah, Catherine said that Jenny has a whole box full of the little pin cushions, and they are so cute. So this kit with the spoon was $25, and so if you are interested, you can order one from her, or you could put one together yourself. But she said that it was fine if I wanted to show you the whole thing here on YouTube. So, but if you want to get your own kit from her, then this is the person that you contact to get it. Okay, this is where you go. And I think that they have a website. They have a website, but I think they have a mail order business. I have not taken the time to look that up, but you can look it up if you want. www.muppin.com, which I thought was kind of interesting since we were celebrating and reviewing the life of Miss Muppet, my dog, last week. And thank you for tolerating my emotions last week. It was a rough day that day. Much better today. Much better today. So then we went to another place that was, oh wait, one more thing to show you. I had it in my lap. So I will show you this. I don't know that you're going to be able to understand what this is, but I'm going to give it a try. I'm going to give it a try. And I may make this on stream also, but I'm not sure yet. It kind of depends. Okay, this is for clothworks.com. Hello Spring. And this, first of all, the fabric is lovely. But this is one of those panels. Okay, it is a panel. And it's about, I think it's about a yard. Let's see. I think it's about a yard, but I'm not entirely sure. But what it makes up into is a little cloth dollhouse. And it looks much bigger in this than it sews up. I saw the actual one on display in her store, and I thought, this just looks like the kind of thing that a certain little girl in my life would love. But it comes up into rooms, so this becomes a wall, and then there's a floor, and then it has all kinds of little things that go with it, that you put felt on the back, and I mean, so it's a quiet toy, but it's also just so stinking cute. So there's a little bed, and there's a little bedspread, and you know, I know it's impossible to show it to you, but there's like the rug, and there's the bed. Okay, so it's impossible. It's impossible to show it to you in the flat, but you just have to use your imagination. You got to use your imagination. So there's the room front. So there's walls, and there's you know, here's another wall that has chairs, and there's rugs, and there's floors, and it all comes together, and it folds up, and it makes this cute. Here's one of the rugs, little play dollhouse, and here's the instructions. Okay, so here's the instructions of how to do it. So we'll find out whether we can do this or not. I think we surely should be able to. And the materials you need, craft pellon or other fusible heavy interfacing, at least 20 inches wide. You need ribbons and felt. And essentially that with this apparently is what you need. I have not studied it, but I thought, that is too stinking cute. I mean, it's a pretty good sized piece, you know? So it is called Hello Spring Dollhouse Book, is what it's called, by Meags and Me. Migs and Me. Yeah. So cute. So cute. Yeah. So there you go. And then she also had another one that I did not get because my little granddaughter is a little beyond it. It was like a little sleeping bag that had a bunny rabbit that snuggled down inside the sleeping bag, and it was pretty cute. But my little great granddaughter's a little past that. She'll still like this though, because she can play with her own dolls with that. So, okay. Then we went to this other store that was called Pinecone Gallery. Okay, Pinecone Gallery. I'll show you the card here in a second. Let me show you the card. And then I'm going to talk, and this was where we found that book that I showed you to begin with. Okay, so this is Pinecone Gallery. Okay. And this was just a couple blocks away from Muppin's Emporium, which was not too far from Hancock's. Everything is fairly close together. Some of it you can walk to. Hancock's down to Lower Town is a bit of a walk, but from Muppin's Emporium to this one, that was just a couple blocks away. So it was easy to walk to. Anyway, okay. Pinecone Gallery. So Jay Downs, one of the authors of the book I showed you about Lower Town, he had, he was just opening up when we got there, and it said it opened at 11 or something, and we got there a little before 12, and he was just opening up. And a lot of these people are living above their stores or behind their stores or whatever. And when you walk into this, I thought it's also called Cherrywood Fabrics. So it was Pinecone Gallery and Cherrywood Fabrics. So I'm thinking when I walked in there, I was expecting to see lots of fabric. Instead, what I saw were a lot of pieces of art, colored pencil and watercolor and so forth. Nice things. A lot of it was fantasy, dragons and those kinds of things. And it was really interesting. And he was quite a character, a big white beard and just very gregarious and easy to talk to and all. And he told us all about the book and about that area of the town and so forth. And I said, so we were going to buy the book. And then I said, so is the Cherrywood Fabrics next door? And he goes, oh no. And he had all of these fairly large paintings that were standing up against, leaning back against, I just assumed cabinets. That's what I thought it was, that they were just leaning. There must have been, I don't know, 6, 8 of them, something like that, leaning against what I thought were cabinets. He starts stacking those up on top of each other, moving them down. And behind all those paintings were shelf units with the Cherrywood Fabrics in the cubby holes. I'm like, that is crazy. And this is the other side of the card. So here's Pinecone Gallery. And here is the Cherrywood Fabrics. So if you are, I don't know if you're familiar with Cherrywood Fabrics. If you're not, you should learn about them because they are phenomenal. They are all hand dyed. And this is an example of the Cherrywood Fabrics. So I bought 2 collections of Cherrywood Fabrics. And I thought I would show them to you before I uncorked them, opened them up. And so this is called Texas Ranch, this colorway, and this is called Vegas, this colorway. And these are half-yard bundles. All right, now let me tell you, this is not cheap when you buy half yards. 8 half yards of hand-dyed fabric is not cheap. But they are amazing, okay? When you look at these, let me see if I can just pull one. I don't know if I can get one fabric out. I have had some Cherrywood fabric in the past, and Cherrywood, every year they have a challenge. And I've forgotten what the challenge is this year, but they had the fabric there. You buy the bundle of fabric, and then the challenge, I don't know what's involved with the challenge. I don't do that kind of stuff because I'm really not interested in it, in doing a challenge, and B, I don't really have the time at this point to do it. So here is a half yard, so 18 inches by probably 44, 45, yeah, about 45 inches by 18. But the fabric, I don't know if you can see it, but it has a very suede-like appearance. It is not suede, it is cotton. It's a very nice cotton. Yes, all cotton. And it is a good muslin, good weight of muslin, but it's the kind of muslin that is good for, it's closely woven, but you can still stitch through it. And they're all solid colors, but they have all different kinds of solid colors and all different kinds of ways that they put them together, bundles that they've put together. But they're all solids, and they are amazing collections of colors and fabrics. So anyway, I thought I would show those to you, and I left them bundled so that you could see how they look, and they are different. I mean, even this one right here looks like it might be kind of close to this, but they're not. They are different. So they're not repeated from one collection to the next. So, and in that particular location, everything was put up like this. I did not see any bolts of fabric there. So this kind of thing suits me quite well because I don't do great big huge projects, and so this suits me very well. And I love, no matter how you put the colors together, they're going to work. They're just going to work. But it's just the most luxuriously beautiful fabric. And he was telling me about the process. He was very knowledgeable about it. And he was telling me the process of how they quality check. I know you're drooling. How they quality check the fabrics and how many times they're washed and how many, I mean, they're rigorously washed and dyed, and the dye bath is repeatable and all of that. But, if you were going to do a quilt and you wanted consistency throughout your quilt, then you need to buy enough fabric of a given dye lot to make sure that if that was important to you. That's not important to me, so I don't care. But he was talking about that, and that after he's explaining the process, and once he got past it's washed 6 times, and then it's this, and then it's washed 3 more times, and then it's that, and then they use a mangle press of some kind, and there's a light, and the fabric goes over this light and through this press, and they detect any inconsistencies or any problems with the fabrics, and then those get pulled out and put to the side. And so then those are bundled together and sold as seconds or whatever, right? And my ears are perking up, and I'm thinking, well, that's what and he says, and I can't keep those in stock. He said, these quilters just love those. And I'm like, I can understand that. I would love that variety. Hey, Beth. When are we going to make the pin cushions? I don't know. Maybe I will be not here on Friday, but maybe we will start that in a couple of weeks. So, yeah. So I just thought that was so interesting that, that's the first thing that goes is the stuff that they cull out and deem not perfect. Isn't that funny? Anyway, so cherry wood fabric. If you like solid colors, you cannot go wrong with the quality of or the colors of cherry wood fabrics. Okay, I'm just looking to see if there's anything else I was going to talk to you about. But lots of really interesting information, interesting people to talk to. I highly recommend that you go there. If you do, go look at Muppin's Emporium. Talk to Cheryl. She has kind of purpley burgundy hair, and nice woman. And watch her on Friday night. You can find her YouTube channel where she shows a lot of the things that she has in her store and so forth. It was great. So that was on Friday morning, and then we drove to Huntsville, Alabama, and drove through Nashville, which is essentially a nightmare. We both don't like going through there. And the road construction and the traffic going through Nashville, our whole trip on that side going down to Alabama was just crazy, though. It was crazy. Coming back, we went a different direction, and we avoided Nashville entirely. We drove through a lot of small towns, and we got to see a lot of the the flat land in the boot heel of Missouri. Okay, did you know? Now, maybe you did, but I did not know that they grow rice in Missouri. They grow rice. I always thought that rice was something they grew in, Asia or something. That's how uneducated I was. Yep, they have huge fields of rice in southern Missouri. And apparently they grow rice in Arkansas as well. Who knew? I had no idea. I had no idea. But as we're driving along, here are all these flooded fields, and I'm like, why are those fields flooded? But not every field was flooded, just only some. And I said, do you think that's rice? And Elton says, well, I'm not sure. And we found out, indeed, that's what it is. You knew that? I had no idea. I had no clue. I had no clue. None at all. Not any at all. So, if I can get, let me see if I can get Mr. Race to join us. If he can, we will do a drawing. And if he can't help us, we'll punt, okay? Okay, so we'll see what he says. And so what we're going to do is I'm going to give away, I did not do any more to these little characters. All right. Trying to get my camera to cooperate here. I'm going to give away these little characters. So we did the dog and we did the cat, and they're on felt. And this is fabric that we did from scraps. And so felt is the backing. It's a wool felt backing. I did not do any more to these other than to do a little bit of, added a little bit of glue to kind of make sure that things weren't coming apart. Yeah, Denise Ovey says, if I purchase one more piece of fabric, the quilt angels will strike me with lightning. I understand that. I understand that. So these, you can do with them as you wish. You can use them as bookmarks. They're maybe a tad thick for bookmarks, although I think they're perfect for bookmarks. Or you could put a ribbon on them and you could hang them up. You could use them as Christmas ornaments. You could do whatever you want to do with them, okay? So I'm going to give Race a few minutes to join us, because I actually told him a little bit later than this. We'll see if he can join us and do the drawing with us. Otherwise, we're going to punt and just see if we can make it happen. So they're going to be giveaways for you guys. Any of you that were not here last week, we did have to say goodbye to my Muppet dog that you used to hear her little toenails on the floor, and she would come in and check on me and make sure that I knew she needed to go out like right now. And she was 17 plus, and she was perfectly fine as she could be, although she was aging dramatically. She was fine as she could be until the last 12 hours, and that's when we had to let her go. And so we didn't see that coming. We lost one dog about a month ago, then we lost Muppet last Monday, and so things are not. There's Race. So things were a little sticky, and I wish I could tell you that they're a lot better, but yeah, we have more news about that later. Not tonight. Okay, so there's Race, and if he can help us, we will give away a puppy and a kitty. Okay. So, hello, Mickey. So, anybody that wants to enter the drawing, this is just for fun. It is what it is. Whoever gets it, here's how it's going to have to function once we get it set up. You guys will need to contact me on the website, which is HowToGetCreative.com, and fill out a support ticket. You will find the support ticket. We'll try to give you the link here. But it's easy to go to the website and you'll find support or contact us here, or there's something on there like that. Okay, click that, fill out the support ticket, and just say contest winner or whatever you want to say, and give me your name and address. Okay, but I need your whole name and your full address. Make sure you give it all the details, because if you don't, I can't send it to you. Okay. All right, so Race, are you, yeah, exactly, Terry. Are you in a position of working the drawing? Yes. Okay, so what you want to do is enter the word puppy. So we're going to give away this one to start with, okay? So, puppy. So put in the word puppy. We'll give you some time to get it in there. You can put it in once, or you can put it in, doesn't really matter, because it's going to only count you once, I think. So it's going to come up. So the word puppy. Hi, Christine. Does not matter if it's capitalized, not capitalized, all caps, no caps, doesn't matter. Okay? All right. So once we get it in there, Race will tell you when the time is about up. So he's going to let you do that. What else was I going to do? It seemed like there was something else I was going to do tonight. 20 seconds. Okay. There was something else I was going to do with you guys tonight, and I don't remember what it was. I'm a little pie-eyed tonight, so to speak. In other words, I'm a little tired. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Puppy. Okay, so it's winding down. We're done. Okay, puppy's done. All right, and so congratulations, Tori Swanson. You won the giveaway. Okay, it is random, and so that's how that works. All right, so Tori, even if you think I have your address, I need you to fill out that support ticket. Okay, so congratulations to Tori. Okay. All right, so that will be this one. Good to see you in the chat, Christine. Okay, so we have one more, and that's going to be this one. So we'll let Race give you the next thing to say. So Tori Swanson, congratulations. Did Tori see that? There she is. Good. You got here late? Okay, cool. All right, the next word's going to be kitty. 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 Okay, Kitty. So there you go. You can put that in there. The way that these came into being was drawing them with my non-dominant hand. And I did a whole bunch of them, non-dominant hands, left-handed in other words. And then picked out the ones that I liked the best to make the little figure, the little cat, and they were done, let's see, I have them here, don't I? Yeah, here's one of them. Here's one that I turned into a canvas, so that was one of them. And then I've got the cat here somewhere, but I don't know where it is. Anyway. So I've used these for a number of different things. For canvases, for contests that we did back a little while ago. Okay, so here we go. That's the end. And so congratulations, Terry Stouffer. You won the kitty. All right. Nightbot selected at random. Terry. And so Terry, you will need to do the same thing. Get a hold of me through the website for the thank you, Race, very much. Race, you want to do one more while you're here? Do you want to do one more? We can do one more, because I might as well do one more while you're here. You want to? Sure? Okay. Let's do one more. I have a journal that I made, and so this is a journal that I did. It's we've talked about these before. It is, here's the front cover. Jelly plate printed fabric for the cover. It has a little watercolor front page, and it's just plain paper. It's just plain paper with it has a little tag, and the binding is with waxed linen, and the ties to hold it closed are rayon. The word is journal. Okay, so if you are interested in this journal, now I don't know how long these ties are going to last on this, because rayon is not known for being extremely sturdy, so you might have to replace this at some point. Anyway, and on the tag it says remember on one side, and it says express on the other, and these are actually dog tags, bona fide dog tags with paste papers on them. Okay, so these are journals, and they have my favorite motif on them, which is hands. I love hands on anything, so we'll do that, and then that I will send out as well. Okay, so we'll see who gets the journal. So the 20 seconds, okay? So we got a journal, and we got a dog and a kitty all going out hopefully this week. I'll try to get them out tomorrow, but I'm not going to promise it. It could be next week. I'm not sure. Okay, that's it. Cut off. And now, congratulations, Dorothy Gibbs. Dorothy Gibbs all the way in the UK. All right. All right, Dorothy, are you sure you want this? I know that you're getting rid of a bunch of stuff. Are you sure you want it, Dorothy? I assume you did, or you wouldn't enter the drawing. Dorothy's probably gone to sleep. She's probably gone to sleep because it is late, late, late over there. You can always use it as a gift too, Dorothy. All right, we'll see. I'm going to wait till she acknowledges us. Let's make sure. Oh, wow, thank you. Okay, so you do want it. Okay, all right, Miss Dorothy, that's good. And Dorothy, unless you have moved, I do have your address. You will not need to contact me. If it's the same address that you've had for a while, I do have that one. So that one you don't need to contact me about. Okay, Race, thank you so much for doing that, because it makes it so much easier if you do that. So much easier, so thank you. Okay? All right. Anybody have any questions tonight? Because I think that's probably all I'm going to do tonight. Because I'm a little tired, to tell you the truth. Thank you, Race. Appreciate it. I am actually going to go and visit Race. I'm going to leave on Wednesday. I'm going to fly out, and I'm going to spend a few days with him. And hey, Dana, and guess what he wants? He and Izzy want me to bring them. You want to guess? Let's see if you can guess what they want me to bring them in my suitcase. Anybody know? Anybody guess? It's food. So what would you think that they would want me to carry in my suitcase to them halfway across the United States? Not cookies. No, not cookies. No, that would be ever so much easier. Keep guessing. Not cinnamon petals, no. White Castle, no, but you're on the right track. You're kind of on the right track, Terry. Keep guessing. Pound cake, nope. It's food, not burgers. But you're kind of on the right track. But it's not burgers. No sweet petals, no. Because Race can make his own sweet petals. He's very good at it. So anyway, I'm going to be going and visiting, and then I will be back on Sunday. Snyder's potato chips. That's a good suggestion. French fries, nope. Chick-fil-A, nope. There's a funny story behind this. Back when corn. That's a good guess. Back when Claus Man passed away, mac and cheese. That's a good guess too. Casserole. No. Gooey cake. Nope. Back when Claus Man passed away, they were here, and I think that's when the first time we had it. There is a local restaurant that started here in our town. Nope, no green beans. And this restaurant started here, and we were, how when you have a death in the family, you either are really hungry or you're not hungry at all. You're welcome, Dorothy. Well, we were hungry. And so, especially I was, and so we ordered pizza, okay? And it's pizza that has everything on it. And it's an expensive pizza. Yeah, I will not be here Friday, but I'll be back here a week from tonight. The pizza, if all the flights cooperate and all of that. This pizza was, at that time, was like it's like $35 or $36 for a large pizza with all the stuff on it. Well, my daughter-in-law about had a conniption when she heard how much this pizza cost. She could not believe that this pizza cost this amount of money. It was so expensive. And she took one bite of it and she goes, "This is good." Okay, and this is really good. And now the request is anytime Race comes to visit and she's not here, then he is requested to bring back a pizza. So a week ago, 2 weeks ago, whatever, when we were arranging this and nailing down the times and all of that, I said, "Is there anything you want me to bring?" Never thinking about the fact that they were going to make a request. And they want me to bring pizza to them. Pizza. Yes. Yes, I will. Pizza will not travel well. He has traveled with it every time. He's done it many times. Yes, so I will go get it tomorrow. I will bring it home. I will put it in the freezer. And then I will put it in a travel bag. I'm sure it will be thawed out by the time we get there, but I will put it in a travel bag with, So wish me luck that it doesn't explode in my suitcase and cause everything in my suitcase to be pizzified. Yes, lots of Ziplocs, that's right. I know. You bring lobsters home from Maine. See, there you go. There you go. So I gotta go get pizza. So next time I'm here in a week, you'll have to ask me how the pizza traveled. Anyway, there you go. All right, I'm gonna go. Thank you guys all for being here. Thanks for hanging out and participating in the drawings. And I will see you before you know it. I know, all my clothes are going to smell like pizza. I know, I'm going to smell like a little Italian girl. But they will enjoy it. So, from there, from here to there, wish me luck. Okay. Thank you all for being here. I will see you in a week. Until then, have a really good creative week. And enjoy the day. Enjoy the week. And remember to get creative today and every day, because you know it's easy. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.